Hi, everybody. It's Miss Angela from Boys and Girls Club of North Alabama with this week's Try It Thursday. This week, we're going to be talking about the science of how things balance. And balance actually has something to do with forces. There are two types of forces that we can work with. There are pushing forces and there are pulling forces. When all these forces are equal, then that is what's called balance. We're going to investigate that today. Let's get started.
So here are these supplies that you're going to need for this week's experiment. You're going to need modeling clay. You're going to need a straw. You're going to need a pipe cleaner. And you're also going to need some beads. Now, I just have a stash of beads kind of hanging out in my house. I just brought them in. The best beads for this are going to be beads that look like this. They're called pony beads. They're plastic and they have a pretty big hole. If you use the teeny tiny beads, they're not really going to work so well. So you want ones that are kind of a big size. If you're working with like younger kids, like kindergarten age, you want to have beads even bigger than this because it's going to be hard for them to work with. But these are the types of beads that work best for this experiment. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to make the base for our balance experiment. So I'm going to get some of these things out of the way. So what you're going to need, here, let me move some of this stuff here, is you're going to need just your straw and a small piece of modeling clay like this. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to make a ball of modeling clay. I'm going to then I'm going to put this on this paper plate here so I don't make a mess on my table. And then all I'm going to do is stand the straw up like so. And this is going to be where we do our experiment for our balance. Okay, so it's going to look just like this. Okay, once you've got your experiment station set up, now you can start doing some experiment with balance. To do that, you're going to need this pipe cleaner that we have right here. Let me get one out of here. So just going to need one. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to try to balance this pipe cleaner on the top of the straw like this. And this kind of takes a minute to do. It may fall over, just like happened to me. You're just going to sit and experiment a little bit and see exactly where the pipe cleaner is going to balance. This point right here is what's called its balance point or center of mass or gravity. This is the point in which these forces, they're at the end of the pipe cleaner here, are actually all balanced out. You can kind of see it sits here and doesn't really do anything. And that's pretty straightforward, right? But there's actually some more you can do with this. You can actually change the shape of the pipe cleaner to get it to balance in interesting ways. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pipe cleaner off of here. I'm going to move this out of the way for just a second so you can see. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my pipe cleaner and make it into the letter V, like this. There you go, letter V. And then I'm going to bring my little experiment guy back over here, and I'm going to try to balance it on here. Now, if I put it up on top like normal, like a V, it's totally going to fall off. But if I change it a little bit and put it on here like this, you got to be careful, you can notice that the pipe cleaner does balance on here. And that's because its mass, most of the weight of the pipe cleaner is actually way down here. It's actually pretty stable. I can push it around a whole lot easier, well, kind of easier than before. But if I change this pipe cleaner shape again, I can make it to an even more stable shape. Okay, so I'm going to change this V shape again. I'm going to show you kind of how to do this because it's got a couple different steps to it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my finger in the very kind of the end of the V right there. And then I'm going to wrap the pipe cleaners 2 times around my finger. Not too tight though, because then I can't get it out. That's not what you want. So you're just going to do this. So when you're done, it's going to look like you kind of have a man with really long feet or a bunny. I always say that when you do this, it kind of looks like a bunny. Okay? Now, after you do that, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to make these bunny ears curl down like this. So you can see how I did that. Like this. So you kind of have what looks like a guy putting his arms up in the air, or maybe a bunny with really floppy ears. Okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to get some of those beads here. And these are going to be weight that we add onto, not that one, to our bunny ears here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2, actually maybe 3 on each side, and then I'm going to bend the side so that they don't like fall off or anything. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So when you're finished, it's going to look something like this. It's going to be like this little kind of hands up looking guy with beads on the end. And then we're going to put this onto our balance straw and see what happens. Okay, so now we're going to test our little bunny ear guy that we made here. You'll notice that I changed the color of the straw. That's because I just think the pink shows up a little bit better on the screen, so it actually really doesn't matter what color that you have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on top of our little balance point here. And you're going to notice that our guy sits there like super well. He's not falling off at all. And if you want to, you can actually even push this around and it's not going anywhere. This is balance. You'll notice it wibbles a little bit and wobbles around, but it does not fall over because this is very well balanced because of these extra weight that we put down at the bottom of the pipe cleaner, and we changed the shape. This pipe cleaner is actually more balanced than it was when it first started. You can kind of see that. If I take this off and then just get a regular straight pipe cleaner and put that on here, you know, this is like, you got to really try to keep this thing balanced. I got to really work at that. And it still tends to like barely hang on here, right? And if I push it a little bit, it totally falls off. This guy's totally different. You'll notice that I can kind of, and let me move him a little bit so you can see him a little bit better. There we go. I can really push him around with a good amount of force, and it's not falling off. This is a great experiment to show you how shape can affect the balance of an object. So here's my little guy here. You can see that I can push him around. I can do a whole bunch of stuff with it, and he does not fall down. Now this is a great experiment because there's lots of other things you can do with this as well. Maybe you want to experiment with the shape. What happens if it is like really long, like the bunny ears look like he's super sad or something like that? What if they are way up here? Does that affect anything? I don't know. We'd have to try it to see. What if I added, like 5 beads on one side and only put 1 on the other? How does that affect the balance? Can I change the shape of the pipe cleaner to make it balance just as well as it was before? This is one of these great experiments that you can do with really easy materials that you can show a lot of different things with balance and center of mass and center of gravity. We hope that you'll try this at home and post us a video or some pictures if you do. We'd really like to see them. Again, this is Miss Angela from Boys and Girls Club North Alabama. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next week on Try It Thursday.